Hi everyone, it's me, Tim. Today I want to do a toy update part 4, which is also an Insomnia update part 2, because I've been up since 2 a.m. and my lack of sleep translated into new code in my toy. I did a bunch of changes to the shields that you guys asked for. I did a bunch of extra code that was floating around in my noggin, and for some reason I can do math at 3 a.m., but once I hit the UI, some of the UI stuff I was going to do, to quote Marie Kondo, UI coding does not spark joy in me, and that's where I kind of stopped. But anyway, I want to show you what I did, because I think it's pretty cool. The first thing I did was to shields. I read through all of your guys' comments, and there were conflicting comments on what to do with the shield gradient. So what I ended up doing was I pulled out blue. A lot of people said blue doesn't belong in there. And I switched the gradient so that when it first starts taking damage, it's a dim red, and then it becomes an orange, and then it becomes a yellow, and then it becomes a white, and that's when the shields will fail. I had flipped it around because a lot of people were saying, well, red to me means damage, but many people were pointing out that red means low energy. So when I changed the direction, I noticed that I wanted to make them fade too. So you hit it, and it goes to whatever color it should be based on its shield state, and then it slowly fades out over time. The problem with that is it was not paying any attention to my alpha changes. Well, I looked at the shader I wrote, and I was like, duh. If you look here, you'll see that shield color is a 4-vector, red, green, blue, alpha, and it pipes into the color on the fragment of the fragment node of the shader, but that's only a 3-vector. It's only red, green, blue. Why? Because if you look down, alpha's got its own channel. Because of course it does. That's where the Fresnel output, the Fresnel effect output pipes in there, because that's how Fresnels work. They compute the alpha, and it's higher near the edges and lower in the middle, so you get transparency in the middle. So what I did was I piped the Fresnel effect into a multiply node and made a new exposed property called shield alpha. Those two multiply together and go into the fragments alpha. Now I have a way of controlling the shield alpha. So let's take a look at some combat where the ships now go from dim red to bright white as they take more damage, and then they fade over time. Here we go.
Warning.
Alrighty, I thought that was pretty cool, especially for getting all that code done in the middle of the night. I wanted to show some other things. A few of these are things I already had done. The upgrade stuff I'd already had done, and I think rear view was done. But let me show you some other things I did. It's hard to see the ships when they're flying around, especially when there's a lot of detritus and planets and other things in the scene. So I made a target lock. So whenever you right-click your mouse, it locks on to the nearest ship to your cursor, and it brackets it. So You can see it happening here. I think it's pretty cool. It was fun to do the math for the projection of the location of the ship in 3 space, project it onto the HUD in 2 space, and draw the brackets there. That was super fun. And then, of course, turn them off if the ship goes behind you. So that was fun. For funsies, I thought of another torpedo type, which I called a camera photon. And what it is when you shoot a photon, it puts a camera on it and pops up a little UI element, and you can see what that camera's seeing. So let's take a quick look at that.
Warning.
And that was fun. I can tell you there were some really weird bugs because I forgot to check that it was the player's camera. So every time an NPC shot at me, the camera would switch to a photon. I'd see my ship and it would get really big, and then I'd take damage. And I'm like, okay, I need to switch that to be player photons only. So that was fun. While I was playing with cameras, I decided I wanted to do a long-range scan interface. So I made it so that there was a really distant trailing camera behind the player's ship. I also put a giant green, and I used the shield effect, a giant green sphere around the player's ship that can only be seen by this long-range camera. And then I made this.
Warning.
So there, I thought that was pretty cool to see a long-range camera in place. I don't think I ever showed you guys that I can do a rear view look. So here's a quick running version of the game where I can flick to rear view. Rear view just, switches to a camera that's facing out the back of the ship, and I also turn off all the HUD elements when that happens. I don't tend to use it, but a lot of space games have it, so I'm like, okay, rear view we go. Or aft view, I think they call it. And then the other coolest thing I did was I put in a bunch of upgrades for all the different elements that the ship can have, and I've been working on this for a while, but I don't think I showed it to anybody. What happens is as you pick up those little cargo pieces and your cargo meter fills up, when it reaches full, the game will pick at random a few things to upgrade. You don't always get to upgrade everything you want. It's very much inspired by Vampire Survivors, where you didn't get everything you could buy. It randomly picked from the ones you were eligible for. So I did that here. It kind of represents that the cargo, you don't control what parts you're picking up. So you've picked up a lot of parts. Here's what you're allowed to upgrade. So let's take a quick look at that, and you can see how upgrades work. I think I upgraded the engines at the end and then showed you how fast I can go.
Warning. Warning. Warning.
All right. So that's most of the changes I've made in the last few weeks. Because some of them predated the last one, but I forgot to show it to you. I know there's a lot of UI improvements people ask for, especially making the UI have thinner line elements and transparency. Like I said, I'll have to admit, I start working on this stuff and I quickly get bored. It starts to feel like work, and I have a rule: when working on my toy game feels like work, I just stop working on it. So I stopped, and I decided, hey, it's the middle of the night. I'll make a quick video, show you guys upgrades, and I may stop working on my toy for a while. I don't know. So I probably won't be doing a toy update every week like I've been doing, but I thought you'd like to see where it was as of right now. Anyway, hope you like that.